Hey, it's Random Code here, and today we're going to continue working with Git, and today is going to be a shorter video just showcasing how we can create a branch and swap between branches, where in the next video it's going to be a bit more complicated showcasing merging. But for now, we have a simple setup where we on GitHub have a repository, and we only have a single branch, and on GitHub we can click on this drop down where we can see the branches that we only have in search for branches, but we can see we only have a main branch, which is the default branch. And we can also check this locally, at least locally, which branches we have locally. So we can do git branch, which will show that we have a main branch. So there's kind of like two schools where you can either use a keyword called checkout, or you can use some of the newer keywords. There's both, I think, a switch and a branch keyword, or something like that. But I'm just going to stick with checkout, which is like the long-term used way. So we do git checkout -b to then create a branch, and we then create a new branch called test. And as we can see here, now we then switch to a new branch called test. And if we then again do git branch, we can see that we have a branch main and a branch test, and we are on branch test. And it should be worth noting that right now, this branch is not on GitHub. It's only locally. So even if we reload the GitHub repository, we can't see the branch. We will then, let's just make a few changes. Let's do hello test. We can do as we did previously, git status. We can see we have modified a single branch. I'm just going to do git. We then either git add, or we can also do git commit or a, so just add all right away. So can it skip a step? So git commit everything, and the message, I'm just going to call it test. We will then need to push this, and we will then see that first time we push a new branch, we can't just push it. We also need to add a git push and then set upstream, meaning we're creating a branch on like GitHub in this case, so an origin, and this branch is also going to be called test. So we're kind of matching that our local branch test is going to be the same as the branch test on origin on GitHub. And as you can see, it's very easy because we are prompted to this. So even if you forget, you're prompted that the first time you need to git push it upstream. We do it like this, and we can see that it pushes, it adds a branch. And now we can actually see here on GitHub that it actually just straight up tells us that a new branch has been pushed. And I think if we reload, we should be able to see here that we now have a test branch as well. So then, as we know, we changed it to test here on the test branch. Again, we are on the test branch. If we then want to go back, we then git checkout main, so then switch back to main. And we can see here that our files are then going to be as the state of main. So how we should think of this is that when creating a new branch, we from the current position of our current branch, we make a copy, which is going to be running like side by side, so they're not impacting each other. And we can then make changes. And that's the whole point of Git and GitHub, is that we can have multiple people working on the same stuff at the same time without impacting each other. And as mentioned in the next video, we will then be able to show how we can then merge these branches together to then kind of actually collaborate. But let's actually show if we then, let's say, create a branch on GitHub to kind of do a test2 branch to kind of simulate that another person created a new branch. We can see now we have a test2 branch. If we then here on our local setup do git branch, of course we can't see it because it's not local. If we do git checkout test2, we're gonna see an error saying there's no test2 branches because we do not know that a new branch has been created somewhere else. To then actually retrieve branches created and added to the origin, we can do git fetch, which then retrieves all branches existing on the origin. And I keep saying origin because it's kind of like this is the original space, or where everything originates from. It's a bit more complicated, and we're not going to discuss that, but it's also possible to have multiple origins, so like multiple hubs, kinda, where we can have different states and setups. But for now, just understand that if a branch has been created somewhere else and pushed to GitHub, to then see that branch locally, we need to fetch first. And after fetching, we can then once again do git checkout test2, and we then switch to test branch 2, and we can do git branch, and we can see branch 2. So that is the general concept of creating branches and swapping branches and fetching branches if needed, if they are created elsewhere and pushed to origin, to GitHub. So if you enjoyed this quick showcase of Git branching, please leave a like and subscribe, and I wish you all a wonderful